Okay, I'm all done with this thing, the Skyline diffuser for my office. Well, I'm not finished with it because I've still got to finish it. I'm going to be spraying it outdoors, which is a problem because it's still really cold out. It's not minus degrees today. It's actually minus right now, but in an hour or so, it's supposed to warm up to 3 degrees Celsius. The trick to doing spraying outdoors when it's that temperature is to make sure that your wood is up to temperature, up to room temperature. Not this room though, because it's only 5 degrees Celsius in here. I'm gonna have to bring this in my house, leave it in there on the heated floor for a couple hours. Then I'll be able to bring it outdoors and spray it out there. So the first thing I'm gonna do before I do that, before I bring it in my house, is I'm going to sand the back here a little bit. Doesn't need a lot. And I'm going to sand the edges a little bit as well to make everything nice and smooth all the way around. On the back you'll never see it, but I want to get at least the same level of finish on the back as on the rest of it, and that'll keep it nice and flat. You know, if you don't finish the back, that'll increase moisture absorption from the back, and then it may cup. It didn't take a lot of sanding. I was very careful about the sizing of these blocks so they weren't uneven on the ends or the edges at all. It's just more or less to smooth it out so that it looks perfect all the way across. How heavy is it? It's heavy. It's not too heavy that I can't carry it. Reach around here, and I would have to say maybe 80, 90 pounds. It's hard to judge. How fragile is it? Well, I wouldn't want to drop it. It'll hold together just fine forevermore unless you drop it. If you drop it, then it will probably break. But if it did break, it wouldn't be a big problem to glue it back together again because it is just wood, and that's what we do with wood. We glue it back together. All right, I got it taken out and set up on my sawhorses out here on my deck, and I've already blown it off. I was very careful about that because you only get one shot at that. You definitely don't want dust trapped in the finish. And this is just a touch-up gun. I've got the pressure set to 40 pounds, and I'm going to do the back first, just going back and forth until I'm happy with how much I've got laid on. Now I've repositioned it so that I can do the front, you could say. I got to do it in small patches like this so that I'll get complete coverage, all these nooks and crannies. They're hard to reach even with a sprayer. I wouldn't want to do this with a brush. I've got about 3 coats on the front here. I've actually left it outside. Since the sun is so strong today, I guess it's heating it up and it's making it dry just fine. Anyway, got a piece of sandpaper in my hand here. No, I'm not going to sand all of these spaces here. I just want to sand the outside here a little bit, so that'll be smooth. Inside here, if I can get enough finish in there, it'll actually go pretty smooth anyway. If you can look on the surface here, that's pretty smooth as it is, and I haven't sanded any of that. All right, so I'm in my office now, and I have the cleat that I'm going to use to hang it up. I've got the diffuser brought in, fully sprayed. I wound up putting, I don't know, I can't even count how many very thin coats on the front. I know I put 3 on the back and probably 4 around the edges as well. But in the front, I set the sprayer to very fine, very small amount of material spraying and got right in the nooks and crannies there with the gun and really made sure it was well coated. The beauty of the cleat is that, once I put the thing up, if in a year's time it needs to be cleaned, I can take it down again easily just by lifting it up and taking it down, bring it out, blow all the dust off that might be on there, or kind of wash it off, wipe it off type thing too. So here's the cleat. I've already got the screws started in there. I've already located where the studs are in the wall. I don't have a stud finder. I use a drill to drill a hole in there to make absolutely sure that I have a stud where I'm going to go. Also, I've made marks here where I want this bottom of this stick to be. I didn't use a level. I measured down from the ceiling. That gives you something that looks better, because even if the thing is dead level, if the ceiling is not level, and that's usually the case in older houses, it doesn't look right. It looks like it's on level. So it's better to measure down from the ceiling. I always do that. I actually do that for cabinets as well, for the most part. The upper cabinets, anyway. So I've got a center line marked right here as well. And that's the center of the wall. I'm just going to line this up and get my drill and drive the screws in. All right, so 3 screws will easily hold this up without a problem. The other thing I want to do with this, because this thing is supposed to be a sound diffuser as well, is use this as an example of the reverb in the room. There's quite a bit in this room because it's kind of empty. It's just my desk in here now and the chair and a couple other things. Eventually I want to put a table over here to put things out on and stuff like that, but that thing may reduce the reverb a little bit. Okay, now comes the not so easy part. I need to get this up on the wall. My goodness, this is heavy. Okay, there we go. Has it reduced the reverb in the room? Maybe a little bit. I mainly made this because I think that they look cool. I thought it was an interesting thing to do with these blocks rather than try to come up with something else to use 10-inch long pieces of 2x4 that I cut out 4 years ago for another project that I don't plan on finishing.